Hello BookTube, this is Weekly Reads. My reading week has been quite bizarre. The absolute highlight of my reading week was the completion of Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic by Shinobu Ohtaka. I set myself the goal in the month of April to read the entirety of Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic. So the original plan was to read the entire series from April 1st to April 10th. However, I decided to kind of take a few breaks in between. So I read the first 15 volumes the first 5 days of April, took that weekend off, and then the next work week read the next 15 volumes, getting to volume 30. And then on Sunday, after another break on Saturday, I finished the final 7 volumes 31 through 37, and they were amazing. I absolutely had a blast. I was completely transported to this world, and it was an awesome experience. I'm really looking forward to, on Monday, making a bookshelf essential video about Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic, and just talking about it. So, Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic is a series that is inspired by the 1001 Nights. It's about a wizard named Aladdin who was raised in a dungeon, and he is eventually sent out into the world, and he looks for friends and Jinn. So Aladdin finds his first friend in a young man named Alibaba, and together they capture a dungeon. So periodically through the past, wizards called Magi have raised these fantastical structures called dungeons. And at the center of the dungeons are beings called Jinn, who, when a person who enters a dungeon seeking to capture it does capture that dungeon, the Jinn can select that person as a metal vessel user. And so the person can use fractions of the Jinn's power. So Aladdin and Alibaba capture a dungeon alongside a young slave named Morgiana, and together they become the best of friends. And they go on numerous adventures while trying to prevent the ambitions of the Dark Sorcerers organization Al-Thamen. I will talk a lot more about that and the various arcs and show you some images and stuff on Monday, because that is definitely my plan. This was fantastic. Again, the absolute highlight of my week. Just wonderful. So on Saturday, I read the third of 3 Australian poetry collections. Intimate Geography, Selected Poems 1991 to 2010 by Jennifer Maiden. This is a fantastic collection. A lot of the poems are centered around America's wars with Iraq and other subjects, but they were fun. I really enjoyed this collection. And on Saturday, I also Bell redeemed Porcelain by Durs Grunbein, translated by Karen Leeder. So last week, I had, or previous weekly reads, I had a go at this collection, and well, I didn't have a great Saturday, so I'm thinking that probably led to me putting it aside. But I reread what I read initially and the rest of the collection, which is not much. And I like the poems individually, but I'm not entirely sure together they really have as much of an emotional impact as I would think they should. Now, that could just be a matter of translation. I don't know, but yeah. So over the course of the work week, my plan was to read The Emperor and the Elephant by Sam Ottewill-Soulsby. This is a history of the diplomatic context between the court of Charlemagne and the court of Harun al-Rashid, the Abbasid Caliph, as well as occasionally the Umayyad in Spain. The book is highly academic, and the introductory chapter is just bad. I could not get into the book. I was not interested, and I decided to bail. So, having successfully bail redeemed Porcelain, I thought maybe I could do some more bail redemptions and have another go at the Dickman twins, Matthew and Michael. So I on Tuesday had to go at bail redeeming All American Poem, and it didn't work. Just this collection was not for me, so I set that idea aside. And on Wednesday, I read Postcards from the Underworld by Sinan and Antoon. This is a fantastic collection that focuses quite a number of poems on Iraq's war with the United States and other subjects, and it is amazing. I really enjoyed this collection. So over the last 2 days, I have been reading Cloudstreet by Tim Winton, also for Aussie April, which is one of the big April booktube events. So Cloudstreet is a historical novel set in Perth about two families, the Pickles and the Lambs. They are from both are from working class backgrounds. The Pickles are typified by being sort of lacking ambition. They wait for opportunity to come to them, and they wait for their luck to change. Even as more often than not, their luck is shitty. The Lambs, on the other hand, are far more hardworking, far more industrious. So in 1943, give or take, Sam Pickles is working on a guano island when he suffers a grievous injury and is crippled. A relation who is much better off than he is trying to get him to come back to life, to really sort of look for a job, to really get out of his depression, when that relative keels over with a heart attack, and the family is left with a house in Perth that the relative had bought for a retirement home. And some money, which Sam proceeds to squander at the races. So to make up the sort of difference, to really make some money, Sam rents half the house, and it's a large house. I mean, it's a decaying mansion, to the Lambs, who are coming off of their own tragedy when the middle son nearly drowned and has been left sort of with mental issues. So the Pickles and the Lambs kind of come together in an uneasy sort of co-tenancy, I guess. The Lambs decide to turn part of the house into a grocery store, which further brings in some money and highlights differences between the pickles and the lambs. And I don't know what the writing is very pretty. The plot, but I'm bored. I'm not really all that into it. Because the characters aren't compelling. The plot is episodic, really. There's not much to it. It's just one event after another. And it all reminds me rather of the Bundrins from As I Lay Dying. So I don't know. I'm debating with myself whether or not I want to continue. I mean, there's nothing that's really setting me off that is like, yes, I want to bail on this book. But I'm just bored. So I don't know what I want to do. So one option is I could just finish the book over the weekend, and that's that. And hopefully it'll pick up, and hopefully I'll enjoy it. But so depending on how things work out, this is kind of what to be perfectly honest, I'm not enthusiastic about what I picked out for this forthcoming week's reading. Whether it's continuing with Cloudstreet or not. So I don't know. So the options are the two books I picked up for People April. Bismark by Jonathan Steinberg and The Shadow Emperor by Alan Strauss-Schom, which are biographies obviously of Otto von Bismarck and Napoleon III, who were the antagonists in the Franco-Prussian War, which my thought would have been to read one over the weekend and into the work week if as needed, and then do the same thing to the other one the following weekend. And then in between, maybe get some manga in. I don't know. The other option is the two Byzantine histories I had pulled for this month. Streams of Gold, Rivers of Blood by Anthony Kaldellis, and Byzantium by Judith Herrin. But to be honest, I'm not super enthusiastic though. I don't know, I need to think about it. And I decided that if I ever, I'm just going to set these two aside. First Become Ashes by K.M. Szpara and Phoenix Extravagant by Yoon Lee. I don't really have the time to get to them, and I don't really want to. So, I don't know. I think I'll take tonight to decide what I want to do. And then figure out tomorrow. And then I'll report back over next week what I end up reading. So this was not Pick Me Up I had hoped it would have been. Oh well. So videos I want to make next week. I want to definitely make the Bookshelf Essential about Magic that opens with magic. I also want to make a video about book recommendations and book recommending. And there are a few other topics that I've been thinking about making videos of, but they have defeated me so far. So I might try more attempts at that. So yeah, anyway, BookTube, sorry for the downer ending. hopefully things pick back up. I don't know. Anyway, Bookship, until I see you next week, thank you. Have a great evening and stay safe.